Guys, no time to talk, a lot of animation for today. If you feel lost and overwhelmed when tweening, your character goes out of model during that process, you rely on the rig instead of designing the motion and you're afraid of breaking the rig in this video while animating my Thom Yorke Chihuahua in real time. This is a work in progress, by the way. You'll see exactly how I animate this step by step. I'm sharing my structured approach to tweening and adding in-betweens for animation, how I add in-betweens to keep the character consistent and on model, how I fix broken rig parts while in-betweening inside of Toon Boom Harmony, how I add secondary action first before committing to everything on twos, how I break the animation down on twos to clarify the timing and the structure, and then we move into polish, where I track and clean up arcs, improve spacing for a smoother motion, add squash and stretch to enhance the appeal, and how I intentionally break the rig in Toon Boom Harmony so the animation feels more of traditional animation. Cool, enjoy this video. Boom, time to animate like crazy as always. So, we have this dude, look at that. Boom, 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 boom. Boom. Now let's animate the dude in the middle. The names, Colin, Tom, and Johnny. Cool, let's go. So, let's go with this dude. I have these visual pegs here that allow me to select the entire dude, so I can go here in the master peg of each one of these dudes to animate them like crazy. I'm going to animate the parts that are the more complex first, like the blocks of animation that are the most complex first, and then I'm going to the simple one, which is the first one, which is going to be like. So what is this doing? All of the dude in the middle actually follows the other two dudes. So, especially the one at the front. So look at that. We don't care what is outside of the frame. Bam, bam, bam. In some scenes. So, the dude is going back. I like this accident that happened in animation, like, because moving the master pick of the overall character, this dude is like doing some stuff here, following the motion of the other dude that is bouncing around. So I'm going to leave that really cool thing that happened. So I'm going to focus on this first block. So I'm going to press here stop, and I'm going to press here start, because I'm going to focus on that block. See, and the character, what is doing the character? The character is just going backwards, and also the mouth is changing. And I have to also respect the breakdowns that I added here. I'm going to get rid of the frames in the middle. So, if you didn't watch the first video, the video before this one, don't worry, because I'm going to just repeat the same workflow. So this is going to be like a brand new video on how I animate. Cool. So, the first thing that I'm working with is the keys, which are the frames that are marked with red, and the breakdowns, which are the frames that are marked with blue. And my duty right now is to create a super smooth and badass animation in between all of these frames. Cool? And if you would like to see how I came up with all of these keyframes, all the way from posing, designing the frames, there's a lot of videos before this one. Cool? Okay, it's going backwards, back, then it's staying stuck here, and then it's moving back. So I might get rid of this breakdown over here, and I'm also deleting this blue mark just to be more organized with all of this thing. And now it's flowing better, even the mouth is opening really cool. I can add some secondary motion here on the eye, for example. Here when the character is moving back, the eye can drag forward. So I'm going to just roughly move this stuff like this. Cool. And also this eye can be like that. The eye should go behind the nose. You know, I can put all of this like that. Yeah, also. So it goes even behind the head, so it goes like this, and then it goes up again. So boom, 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 boom. Maybe I can, to create a better silhouette, I can push this shape a little bit up. Awesome. Good. So with the tweening that Toon Boom Harmony is giving me, I'm using it in my advantage to start moving things, to start adding the secondary motion and all that kind of stuff. Now I don't want this to go like just back, but now I'm trying to find a way to create arcs, if I can. So for example, let's see if I can move the head a little bit up in this middle movement. Yes, it's going up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. And then the only thing that I have to do now is connect the neck with the motion of the head. So everything feels connected. Awesome. Now it looks more aggressive. Now, can I add more stuff here in the middle? Because this breakdown is the moment where I can add crazy stuff. Maybe I can move these up. I can even move this a little bit up. Awesome, there you go. Now the ears are flipping, so I have to take a decision what I'm going to do with those ears, because I eventually want those ears to look in that way instead of that way. But I have to also track the piercings, because these piercings over here might be here all the time. So I'm flipping here to track the proportions of all of this stuff, so it doesn't look kind of weird. I can also stretch this stuff. That's why I'm flipping, to keep all of this animation consistent. Awesome. Boom. Even a little bit. There you go. Awesome. And then a little bit down. And if I go inside of this master pack of this dude, see how I'm trying to keep everything clean. Now, here I have to move the piercing down too. And by flipping again, I know that this have to be a little bit bigger, not that much. Here's a bit small, so I track all that kind of stuff. And I know that the shape of the apex of the lines of the ears are going to change from being up to being down, like the corner of that ear. But it's chill because I can hide all that stuff. I can hide it in the middle of the movement. Cool. I have something that I like. Let me see if I can add some slow ins and slow outs. And for that, I click here on these set is for multiple parameters, and you can see that I have a 16 here. I don't know why, so I'll put a 22 because I already like the timing. And I might explain this as we move forward in the video how I use this. For example, here in the top movement, do I want a slow in and a slow out? And every time that I'm changing positions of a character, it's important to have a slow in and a slow out. Otherwise, it will look like tack tack. But if I do something like you see, I slow in at the top, and then I am slowing out to go to the next pose. So it's important to always have a slow in and slow out. And just as a quick guide, something that helped me the most is like left hand ratio. Here, if I am this blue breakdown, the left hand ratio is telling me like, hey dude, do you want to have a slow in on this breakdown from the frame that we came before? And I'm like, yeah dude, because I want to slow in here at the top, so I'm going to put a 22. And then on the right hand ratio is telling me, hey dude, do you want to slow out before going to the other pose? Yeah dude, let's add a slow out. So I'm going to put a 22. Let's see how this looks like. If I press apply, boom, subtle, looks nice. What happened if I put a 99 here and a 99 here? The higher the value that I add on these set parameters, this set is for multiple parameters, the higher the value that I add here, the more strong the slow in and slow out will be. Let's see how this looks like. I will put apply. See? It's like holding more. But I want this motion to feel smooth. I don't want it to feel too aggressive. And if I want to feel very aggressive later in the video, I can totally manually push the spacing of the drawings to create a very snappy animation. But for now, I'm going to create something even, and then if I need to push the timing, I'll do it later. Cool. And that's the advantage of working with cutout rigs, with rig animation, is that I can always improve the timing or change the timing if I change my mind as I move forward in animation. The first thing that I want to do is just have something that I can visualize, something that I can have feedback, visual feedback to change my mind if I want to. And this is something that is working on right now. Now, let's hide those ears that are changing like crazy. And how I change those ears, this is something that I also explained on the previous video, but I want to repeat because this is something that helped me the most. And this is how I hide the transition of the shapes in the middle of the movement by copying the frames, the frames that I already designed, that I already posed from the extreme or from the key poses. For example, here I have the ears with the apex at this point, right? I'm going to copy this ear and paste it here. And the only thing that I'm going to do is track the spacing. is track the spacing and let that shape change. Even I feel like it's getting shorter, so I'm going to see. I'm trying to create an arc going that way, boom, 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 boom. So in order to effectively change these shapes, it's important to track arcs, to track the spacing, so the magic trick of hiding the change of these shapes actually work. See, boom, 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 boom. Now let's go to the next one. I want to avoid these things that are just moving without my control or just without any modification. Like this is just a Toon Boom ugly in between. I want to avoid those things. I want to have control over each frame and try to design each frame properly. Boom. So for example here, I can go high and then go down, but still, see, for example, look at the spacing. Look at the corner. Look at this corner of this ear. That's the thing that I'm looking at. It's like when you're driving. Well, this is when you're driving. It's like you are in the middle, trying to cross in the middle of two cars, and you have two cars on the side, and it's like very, very, very tight. And you're like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to go through all these two cars. It's like, dude, I don't know if this is a good driving advice, but just look at your window, look at the car next to you, and try not to crash over that car. And you're like, oh, okay, I pass. And if you pass through this side, you might pass through the other side. So the same thing with the ears. It's like, if I look at this corner of the ear, at this point of the ear, and I track the spacing of that corner, as a consequence, the rest of the points, or the rest of the lines around the ear are going to also track properly or create an arc. So I focus on one little part, and then I'm sure that the rest is going to work. Boom, boom, beautiful. Now there you go. Let's look at the arc. This is something that I like to do. Now, I do it by eye right now, but just for the sake of the video, I'm going to show you a little trick, and it's that I create with a new color here, a line here, a dot, and then I extend the exposure of this thing. This is something that I do mostly on the polish pass to track each one of the arcs, but just to show you what happens inside of my mind every time that I'm trying to create arcs with the movement of a piece. So boom, here's another dot, here's another dot, here's another dot, here's another dot, and here is the final pose. Now here is the final pose. Look at that. And if I were to connect all of this into an arc, look at this ugly arc. That's not beautiful. So what will be the simple thing to do? The simple thing to do and to simplify all of this is just to create that arc. And this is so important because even when we are drawing, we're trying to simplify stuff. And sometimes we think the more details that we add in the drawing, the more that we draw this muscle, the better that this drawing will represent what I'm seeing. But it's not actually that. The most complex thing to do when you're drawing is to actually simplify stuff. Because in order to simplify, you have to take a hat and take your hat out of just seeing what you think you see and start putting a hat of a designer and start designing everything that you are seeing. And same thing when we're treating with this type of arcs, when we're working with arcs in the movement, we want to simplify those arcs. We don't want to make those arcs complex. There are some situations in which we want to, but in this type of super simple movement, dude, no, the simple that I keep all of this, the easier will be for me. So let's try to track all of this. And these are two levels of tracking. So tracking arcs is also tracking the spacing. For example, if this is a timeline and I were to translate all of this into a timing chart, look at what happened if I translate all of this into a timing chart. The timing of this will look to something like this. This is this frame, this is this frame, this is this frame, this is this frame, and this is this frame. So if I look at this timing chart, look at that thing. It's like, okay, I don't have a slow out here. I'm jumping abruptly over here. I don't have a slow out. I don't accelerate from here. And look at also the spacing here, dude. It's like I have two frames close to each other and then I slow in. It's like the timing is super rough. So I'm making you a spoiler of what I'm going to do at the end of this animation for each part of each one of these characters to track the timing and to track the spacing. So just to see that your arcs is also a representation of the spacing too. So look at that. And how will I fix this? Spreading these frames apart, maybe putting this closer to this one, this like this like this. And now that I am aware of this, guess what? Of course, this dot could be here, this dot could be here, this dot could be here, this dot could be here. So I am fixing all of that stuff with my eyes, just eyeballing all that stuff. And also, if I don't have that slow in here, it may be because I don't even have a slow out in my character itself. So I'm receiving messages. So I'm going from here, slow out, then jump in there. Look at that, that's too close to each other. So something that I can do here is create a sense of depth and do an arc, do a 3D arc instead of just going around like that. So boom, 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 too much, jumping too hard. Boom, 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 up, oopsie. Boom, 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 boom. And then ta 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 ta. So I'm not trying to make an arc anymore like this, but I'm trying to make an arc like this. See, in 3D space, not only in 2D space. So let's go back. And I am eyeballing that stuff. And the polishing pass, I'm going to take care that everything looks very, very properly if I have the time. And then this will go a little bit higher. So I'm tracking the arc in 3D space. That's like unlocking another level of seeing all of these arcs in 3D space, not only in 2D. Cool, let's see. Beautiful. Bam, 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 bam. And see, the change of the shapes is unnoticeable. I'm not noticing at all how this ear is changing from having this point, this corner at the top, and here at the bottom. So that's the secret. Boom, 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 boom. Cool. Done. The ears are done. This first block of the animation is done. I don't want to spend too much time here. Let's go to the next block of the animation. Bam, bam, bam. So we have that, and then we go low key. I might. No, yeah, I have to animate that. So here, this is the first block. Now we are going to animate all the way over until let me see. Let me visualize what I want to do. Yeah. Okay, so we end up in this pose here. Let me get rid of this ear that is moving weird. So I'm going to just delete the other frames. So I keep the last frame as I hold that frame if I just get rid of these frames here. And I can get rid of these frames. Awesome. Okay, let's go. So what if let's go to the master peg of this dude. This is the key, this is a breakdown, this is the key, and down here's where we change the pose completely from this character. Let me see if I tween all of this. Okay, what I have here. Cool, let's animate all of this until here. So I want this character to start going back. I want all of this movement of this character the moment that this other do this out of frame. The thing that I want to avoid is this crossover here between the movement of this character back and the character at the front. They're overlapping the character. So I might move all of this. Whoops. A little bit forward. Bam. So now we have all of this movement. Clear. There you go. Yeah, that's something that I wanted to achieve here. Okay. Now here, between these two frames, between this and this, I don't have any breakdown. So let's see if we actually need one. Okay, I'm going to do something. I'm going to create a slow in and slow out from here to here. I'm going to grab a frame in the middle, and that frame in the middle, I'll see what I can do to have some arcs, to have some entertainment value, and then I'm going to start in betweening. But this is the main thing. Don't feel overwhelmed by all of these keyframes that you're seeing around here. Just look at these two that I'm flipping from here to here. And now I'm going to ask a question to myself. Do I want a slow in and a slow out from this pose to this pose? Yeah, I actually want that. And I want to hold into this pose for a bit longer. So I want to add a super strong slow out. And here I'm going to add a super strong slow out because I want to see this pose for a bit longer. And this one, because it's the start of this crazy movement, I don't want it to have like a strong slow out to this pose. I want to have a subtle slow in because I want the motion to start like accelerating. It's like, and that's something that I'm imagining in my mind, and I'm going to try to achieve in some way with all of these tools. So I'm going to add a strong slow out here, 88. Let's see how this looks like. Beautiful. I might have like a 77. Yeah, better. And then of course here as low in, I can put like a 44. Apply. Let's see how this looks like. Not too much. 22. Actually, not that much. Apply next. Let's keep it 11. Yeah, better. So now in the middle, can I add something here in the middle? Now, for example, if I decide to cut the tweening and to just put everything on twos, because the idea when I am animating, I decide, okay, am I going to animate these on twos, on threes, on ones? Most of the time, I animate everything on twos. Sometimes, some parts, I animate things on threes. Sometimes I animate things on ones, but most of the time, the middle ground is animating things on twos. So I animate things on twos, so I know that if I want to cut all of this, I can either select all of this, select this robot green eyes thing, put this on twos, and press OK, so everything is on twos. But the problem of doing this is like, see how everything breaks here in the neck. That's why before breaking all of this in twos, I have to pick a middle point around here to start fixing all this weird stuff that is happening around. And I'm going to pick this spot, and I'm going to start moving things around without marking a frame, the master peg of this character. So let me think how the motion of the neck is going to work here. So that blob that is happening on the neck is actually happening at the lower part of the neck. So I have to be conscious of that in order to know how is that I'm going to connect these two. Beautiful. Now look at that. Now everything is tweening properly here. So look at this. From here to here, all good. But why is not working here? Because I think the tweening is being cut before connecting to the next drawing. And oh no, it's cool, it's good. So the thing that I'm going to do to see why it's not fixing the other part. So from here to here, the neck is cool, and from here to here is broken. But if I press E, that is my tool to tween, it works better. So it was missing like a tweening in some layer inside of all of this crazy stuff. But I'm not marking this as a key. Why? Because I don't want this. I don't want. If I mark a key here in the master peg of this character, I might lose the properties that I already established for the slow in and slow out of the character here at the extremes, which is 77 and, well, yeah, this is just a result of the two values that I put here. So I don't want to mark this in the middle, because I just fixed the neck. Now once I fix the neck, here I can also fix that stuff a little bit more. I'm going to grab this breakdown to fix that stuff here. Cool. So I'm going to tween all of this. Okay, now that I fixed the neck, what else do I have to fix in this character? But now that everything is open, I'm going to put here a start and a stop. And don't worry if this feels like overwhelmed. You'll get it because I'm going to repeat this many times. I'm without breaking. So this is actually the process. I'm going to write it down here. Oopsie. This is actually the process. It's like I have my keys, and then I add my breakdowns. Cool. Then after adding my breakdowns, I take all of this and I tween. Toon, 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 toon. And then after tweening and checking that everything is working, I cut all of these on twos. So the tweens get out of the equation. So everything is on twos. Everything is on twos. But I'm missing some stuff here, because the moment that everything is tweening, imagine this green is a glowing green, is magic. The moment that everything is tweening is the moment that I can fix stuff, that I can add stuff, like secondary action, and also establish the timing. When I break things onto twos, is when I already did all of this stuff. And when I break things on twos, I can polish, I can track arcs, and I can track the spacing, or just to polish the spacing, track a spacing, or just I'm going to put a spacing, because the spacing we track, we also modify the spacing if we want to push that timing. So you see the two dimensions that I'm seeing. That's why I am breaking down this stuff. So right now I'm in the tweening process. So what I can do in the tweening process, all of the stuff that I am mentioning right now here. So all the things that you're going to see me doing right now is this: fix stuff like the neck, adding secondary action. I'm going to find out where can I add secondary action in the eye, on the ears. Where else can I do? The timing, which is already the first thing that I did is the timing. So that's something that I might put here at the beginning. So the first thing that I did was timing. Then I fix stuff, and then I'm going to start adding secondary action. And then once I go to the animation on twos, I track the arcs, I track the spacing, and then I polish the animation. And polish the animation is where I also add some squash and stretch. Squash and stretch. Cool. I might add this as another point, but I like to do it here in the polish pass. And maybe because I'm trying to grab my mind and deconstruct my mind in a structured way, so I can share my thought process and how I approach animation with you in a very organized way. So that's why I'm doing these draw overs and also talking while doing all this kind of stuff. So I do it as efficient as possible. So right now I track the time. I already established the time in between this pose and this pose. I fixed the neck. I don't have anything else to fix here. Now I also added in the breakdown I moved this head up. Yeah, I did it, right? No, I didn't. And what I'm going to do right now is try to find the secondary action. And where is that I'm going to add a secondary action? Here in the middle in this breakdown is where I'm going to start adding that secondary action. I can also add it here if I want to. Like for example, this dude is going back. But I will add, for example, here the eye that is dragging, and also away from this. Okay, cool. I'm going to add this secondary action. There. Boom. Also, this eye should go behind. Also, Bam, bam, bam. See? And I am not marking the master peg here. See, this is clean because I don't want to affect the original timing that I established. If I start marking my in my master peg the frames and all the secondary action and all this kind of stuff that I'm adding, all my timing might be lost. Oh, what happened? Wait. There you go. I close my app. So boom, awesome. There you go. Now the character is going up, down. So I might want to add another arc here, like before going back. I can add this character to go towards the front. Yeah, I just don't want to be repetitive with the pattern with the arcs. So I don't, the motion at the beginning is already going backwards, and actually I like that because I want to add some in the polish pass. I'm going to make this character follow how shaky this character at the front is, and right now I feel like moving this character towards the front a little bit will help, but not that much. No, la puta madre, wait. I have to add this dude here. Maybe a little here. There you go, tween. Oopsie, I marked this stuff. Well, because I grabbed the master peg, now I mark a key there. So what should I do in order to avoid this frame to interfere with the original timing that I established? I will put all the timing of this frame into 0, and this should change. So I'm going to put 44. Awesome. But because it's like a movement, I'll have to add a slow in and slow out. That's animation. Yeah, I'm going to just keep this simple. Get out of here. I don't want to mess with that timing. Awesome. Now, what can I do with those ears? Let me see if I can add some secondary action to those ears. Yeah, maybe I can move this up. Cool, beautiful. And see, I need to tween. I make sure everything is tweening inside of all of this. Bam. What else can I add? The mouth doing like that's something that I do in the polish pass. 'Cause those are little things. Yeah, I think that's cool. So I added all the secondary. Oopsie. I added all the things that I mentioned here, and now what I'm going to do is put all of these into twos. I have two options: either clicking here and pressing OK, or going manually and just pressing T. Like the keyframe that I add to mark as a key is T. If you want my personal shortcuts, link below. There you go. And then we go like this. There are some mistakes that people make at the beginning, and is that the way to cut a tweening, the way to cut this tweening with the frames is going from right to left, because every time that you try to cut this from left to right, this tweening, poop, cut. Why? I'm not sure why they decided to do it this way, but that's why I go from right to left. Look at how I keep all the tweening from here to here. But the moment that I go reverse from here to here, look, poop, I miss all the timing from there to there. So every time if you want to cut this timing manually and don't go over here or just pressing this, go from right to left. Cool? Bam, 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 bam. Awesome. Look at the eye dragging there. Bam. Now let's go to the next block of the animation. Boom. Discharge. So let's go to the next block of the animation. Now here it's going just poke, poke. Poke, poke. I think it's okay because now I'm going to polish this layer. Bam, boom. So I might move all of this. Where is the pivot point? Little bit to the left to create an arc. But no, I will not do that because he's already doing this. And so I might go like this. And also create an S with the arcs. So yeah, actually here in the middle is okay. I'm just going to cut that in between and leave it there. Boop, boop, boop. And then from here to here, yeah, I need more space between these frames. Go, boop. Awesome. And then here, from here to here, oof, this is an amazing opportunity to drag the ears. So that's something that I'm seeing here, planning here, and then I'm going to add. I'm also seeing the spacing, pam, pam. Cool, I'm going to cut here, I'm going to cut. So Henry, why are you cutting that before adding the secondary motion and all that kind of stuff? When the keyframes are too far away from each other, like in the previous situation, I like to observe things like which things are breaking and things that I have to fix, because it will be a pain in the ass to go frame by frame and fix all those frames that we have from here to here to here to here. But when I have a tweening between just like a tweening that is just one frame, it's not such a pain in the ass. So I can just cut this and then on the polish pass fix all the kind of stuff. But when the spacing between the keys and the breakdowns, when I need to tween in the spacing is super huge, then dude, I'll try to fix the most that I can on that part. Cool. So from here to here, all chill. What the heck is doing this here? Cool. And then from here to here, I want a frame closer to this one, so I don't have to fix too much stuff. Let's see how this looks like. This frame is going to be funny. This is going to be a custom frame, because I'm going to grab this dude. I'm going to open the mouth like crazy. And yeah, this is the master peg that we're modeling here. And the dude here will be like, like, how I'm going to get to that pose? That's something that I'm going to find out later. But for now, I am not afraid, and I am moving this dude as much as I can. Dude, since I lost my AirPods in the airplane last time that I traveled, I haven't listened to music like at all, like too much like I used to listen to music. And now I'm thinking like how much music actually affects normal behaviors. I feel more chill. I feel more calm. I'm always blasting music in my ears. Cool, let's see how this looks like. Cut. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So see, just by moving stuff around, I can have an idea of what I want as an end result to have around here. And I know once I design and post this pose over here, once I do that, I will just copy this one and just stretch it like crazy here. Just to leave just to show how it's going out of the screen. And then boom, out of here, dude. Good though. Boom. I want to hold. I want to hold around here, so it feels like. So how we achieve that shupua? How we achieve that shupua? In between these two frames have to be from here to here, all chill, all good. But here, yeah. So this frame here might go around here. This will go around here. Boom. Yeah, beautiful. So look at what I did. Look at what I did. I get rid of this frame that is closer to this one because I don't need a frame closer to this one. I want to hold here to achieve that. Boom. So I know that I need to hold here. So in order to hold here, I can get rid of this frame. So I will sacrifice that frame to extend the exposure of this one. And where do I want that holding on the timing to be more accentuated? Here maybe, or between these two. I don't care. I'll try it. Yeah, I like that. I like that better. Bam. Bam. And now we're going to the polish pass. And this polish pass is where I'm going to track all of this even harder. So for example, mouth open. So this head that we have the mouth opening, I'm going to copy this one here. Same thing that I did with the same thing that I did with the ears. I'm going to do here with the head. I'm going to hide the transition between the closed mouth and the open mouth. Cool. So I found this pose to be the one that is going to hide that one. And here I can maybe use this mouth here so it feels like it's opening. Try to grab what I'm doing right now. Try to catch what I'm doing right now. Awesome. Awesome. So look at that. I hide the transition of the closed mouth and the open mouth in this frame when it's moving down. But now from here to here, I don't want the mouth to be just like this and then no, I want this mouth to open to gradually open from here to here. From this breakdown to these other two. I might get rid of these mark frames here just to have more visual clarity. So from this frame to this frame, I want the mouth to open. So I'm going to get rid of these frames here and I'm going to tween. Boom. There you go. And now here, now that is tweening, guess what I'm going to do? Let's follow the formula. Timing is already there. Fix stuff and that secondary action. And once I have that, boop, I put everything on twos. Cool? Cool. Let's go here. This frame, cutie patootie. This one here, I need to fix. So, boop. Move this way. What the heck is happening here is the neck. So, fixing all this weird stuff that is happening. This cheek needs some more colors here. What the heck is happening here with the color? I'll fix that later. I'll have most of the time I have an extra pass of just fixing rig stuff. There you go, that is fixed. And then from here to here, the mouth, the neck, Cool. I might squash the neck here. Look at that. So I'm going inside of the frame of the neck. Now the same thing that I did with the head. Look, this neck here, this part of this upper part of the neck is squashing there. Here's stretching. But I want the neck to start squashing around here. So I'm going to get rid of this frame, getting rid of this frame, pressing E, that is my tweening. And again, if you want the shortcuts, link below. And then we go and stretch my shortcuts, because as I mentioned this already on previous several videos, I come up with shortcuts that I have all my shortcuts on a specific part of the keyboard, so I don't have to look at my keyboard for the shortcuts, and I just do this, like if I were playing Call of Duty, and I animate like here. So if you want those, link below. For free, of course. Boom, boom. And then I can just mark a key here. Oopsie, mark a there. Oopsie, mark a key there. Bam, 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 bam. There you go. Boom. See, even the neck is squashing there. Bam. And the mouth is opening. Now the mouth feels like it's doing something like I don't want it to be like Gradually opening, opening. Here. So the head, because the rotation of the head is making that feeling like it's going and then so I might just rotate this dude around so I keep the same angle of rotation of the head. Hooray, but you already designed that pose in a previous video that I spent 2 hours watching. This is totally normal. If we need to just go back to some keys and adjust them to match the animation, it's totally cool. Boom. Boom. Okay, let me just... Now, what I'm going to do right now is tracking the spacing of this dude. Tracking the arcs, tracking the spacing. So, boom, boom. So I'm going to first do it. Because it's awful right now, I'm going to eyeball it, and once I fix some kind of stuff, then I'll manually track the arcs with the drawovers. So boom, boom, boom. See how it's going? Yes, awful. So look at how this big spacing between these two frames is happening here, and then it's super close between these two. So I might make this frame closer to the next frame. And this one, look at that. I want a position closer to this frame. But I want the mouth and the head I want the mouth closed like that. So what I did is the following. I grabbed the position from the frame that I want, and I copy and pasted. I grabbed the position, I tween to get a position that works better in the way that I want it to work. But when I grabbed that pose, it didn't came with the mouth that I want it to be, because I want the mouth to gradually open. So I had to come back and grab a mouth from a frame before and copy it to that frame. And now that I have this Frankenstein of frame, I will move it here, and now I'll have exactly the position and the mouth that I wanted. Boom. Beautiful. Now everything looks cleaner there. Cool. I'm going to animate fast right now because it's going to be a long video. So boom. Here, for example, the ears. I want the ears to drag. I want both ears to be closer to the previous shape that we have. Boom, boom, boom. But now, look at what crazy stuff I'm going to do. Boom. Boom, 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 boom. Stretching that dude. And even without moving the formers, I'm trying to get to that shape. Only if I need to move the formers, I do so. Boom. Look at that. And of course, the eye will not go that way. The eye will go the other way. Boom. I stretch that dude. Bam, 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 bam. Even the nose, maybe. Bam, 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 bam. Let me clean this neck a little bit. Now look, it's going up. That the apex of this neck is going up and then down, down, down. So instead of doing that crazy stuff, no, let's focus on that later. Bam. It's cool. It's cool. It's cool. Okay. You'll see me animating right now like crazy because I want to move faster. Bam, 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 bam. Look at those ears going that way. Beautiful. Beautiful. Bam. Then the head. Oof, looks super even, dude. Okay, so. Pa-pa-pa-pum. Better. So I'm trying to move frames closer to each other so it feels like it's holding there. Now let me animate those ears. Damn. Cool. Let's look at this other one. I like to play with the ear that is further away in 3D. I actually like how tiny I made this ear here. So imagine all the things that I share with you, all of those things I have in my head. I'm considering right now in my head. All the things you said, all the things you said, run into my head. Boom. Look at that little dude here tweeting without my permission. Boom, boom, boom. So I copy and pasted from the ear from the original turnaround of the rig, because I want this to be in the normal form. Just to put it there. Here I might have to use some deformers. And well, I'll design this frame later. Okay, let's go. Boom. We're missing the nose around here. Yep, there you go. Okay, everything is recording. Cool. Boom. Vroom. 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 Cool. Awesome. Let's look at the entire animation. And I am still missing the polish pass. That's something that I'm going to do later. But the animation of this dude is there. Yeah, a lot of stuff to add on the polish pass, like some more bounciness on the ears. Let's do it. But first of all, I think my priority, in order to call this animation a little bit done, is to design the frame that is missing at the end. Also, I need to tween the body. Let's see how that body looks like. Tween that body, boom. Beautiful here. This is something that I will do in the polish pass, but I'm doing right now in the body, and is that I am adding that squash and stretch here, this part. Looks like taka taka taka. That was a mistake, but I like it. Looks like Cool. No, let's fix it. Looks more than a mistake than a actual thing. I'll do it later. There you go. That's how I approach animation in Toon Boom Harmony. Oh yeah, don't say goodbye too fast and let's design this frame here. Let's design this frame. Well, I just will have to post this dude really fast. Oh, a squash here? Nice. I didn't plan that. Another advantage of working with rigs, sometimes some weird thing happens that you like and you're like, okay, thank you. Now this eye, of course. I forgot to animate that eye. All the things you said, run into my head, boom. See how without even scrolling this thing back, without even opening the layer of the eye, I went like this, ta ta ta. I went like this, ta ta ta. I'll go back. I want this eye, copy this eye, and then I copy this eye here, and then I continue working. There you go, dude. And then boom, 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 boom. We go down. Maybe this one will be around like this. Boop, beep. Oh yeah, that will be nice if I play with this eye in 3D space. So here you just have to track this ball. All the things you said, run into my head. Look at that stretch. Look at this negative space here, this wide gap, and look how it changed the shape into something like that. That's also what I'm seeing, not only the character, but the negative space around the character. All the things you said, run into my head. What the heck is this? This part. How can I solve this? I will solve that later with mask. Yeah, and also in the polishing pass I have to make sure everything looks correct on the render view. I don't know, because I don't want to get scared right now. I don't want to see it right now. Right, I'm sure it's not that bad. Yep, I knew it. Just that shit. All the things you said, run into my head. This eye should be super straight. And when I click here, it resets the deformer, so boom. Then here I can stretch the eye. Some this shape, this mouth. Yeah, I want to reveal the mouth there. All the things you said, run into my head. Cool, I'll fix that later. And there you go. Roar. Roar. And how, you know how I will fix that later? Tuki. Tuki. Tuki, 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 tuki. I'll move that shit towards the front of the camera and paint and fix that thing instead of trying to fix the rig. Because sometimes, dude, I'm pushing the rig like crazy, more than I normally push stuff. So yeah, sometimes the thing have to break and I have to come up with custom drawings. And I have to sometimes add some frames and paint on top. So cool, hope you like this video about the animation of this dude in the middle, and in the next video I'm going to show you how I animate the other dude with the same process, with the same approach. And I hope this thought process of mine of how I approach this animation process into this 3 steps works for you, will work for you. Awesome, cool. There you go. If you really like these videos, if these videos are useful, just don't forget to like and subscribe, and more importantly, just share it with your friends. Dude, share it with your friends. Everyone can animate. Everyone can become an animator. And I feel like if we help others to also become better animators, dude, we are building a team of animators in this world that will be there for us. Or we can be there for them in some moment. It's like, you know how many shitty things, how many shitty productions, how many shitty shows or movies exist out there, and there's people also that have really cool ideas but they don't have the skills to do those ideas, and I look forward to seeing cool stuff. I look forward to seeing cool shit. So if this video will help you to make cool shit someday in the future, that'll be amazing, dude, because I want to see your cool shit, dude. And I think it's not too often that I see cool shit that I feel hype about, and I want to see more hype shit, dude. I want to feel hype again with animation, and it's been a long time since I don't feel in that way. Cool. So hope this video helped, and share this video with your friends because I want to see more badass animators out there. Bye bye.